43 seconds that changed everything. Jennifer Lopez's infamous 1998 interview that single-handedly derailed and destroyed her career. Today we discuss box office flops, public feuds, and high-profile breakups that J.Lo may never be able to recover from. Before we get into the best, worst interview that Jennifer Lopez has ever sat for, we need to discuss her most famous public feud that left a bad taste in the land of lambs. If you don't know what I mean by that, well, try and keep up. We're about to dig into J.Lo's feud with the self-proclaimed Christmas queen, Mariah Carey. And yes, lambs are what Mariah Carey's fans call themselves. Now, this feud has been going on for like decades. The feud to the public's eye started when Mariah Carey claimed she didn't know who Jennifer Lopez was. When asked about Jennifer Lopez in a 2008 interview, Mariah Carey famously said, "I don't know her." However, this feud actually began between the two back in the late 1990s when Lopez signed a record deal with Sony Music Entertainment and started working with Carey's then husband, Tommy Mottola. Now, this was actually a pivotal moment in J.Lo's career, and at the time, Mottola was the chairman and CEO and played a significant role in shaping J.Lo's early success. And to give you a little bit more context, he was very instrumental in launching the careers of various artists, including Mariah Carey, Celine Dion, Destiny's Child, and Shakira. So yeah, he was like a big man on campus. Now, Tommy was known to be a very hands-on manager. He worked very closely with Lopez to develop her sound and image, and this of course had an impact on his personal relationship with Mariah, which in turn caused tension between Carey and Lopez. But that's not the only reason why there was beef. Like, it is reported that Mottola actually stole music from Mariah to give to Lopez and build her up. Now, when Mariah Carey released her book, The Meaning of Mariah, in 2020, it actually showcased her very toxic relationship with Mottola, and when referencing Lopez, she refers to her as the one who must not be named. It is reported in her book that a sample Mariah was set to use for her new song Loverboy, out of spite due to Mottola and Carey's breakup, Mottola rushed to have it be used by another artist on the label. And although not named directly, we are led to believe that artist is Jennifer Lopez. Now, Mariah Carey said this was sabotage, like plain and simple. Mariah did change the sample in order to make Loverboy, and she did have the last laugh because Loverboy went on to become the best-selling single of 2001. So like, I completely get Mariah being salty towards J.Lo for this whole situation, but you do have to wonder how much J.Lo had to say or even really knew what was going on. I mean, in my humble opinion, I think Mottola played them both and set both of them up for disaster. It seems like he intentionally created scenarios and a dynamic between the two that would, of course, cause them to hate each other. Now, in an interview with Andy Cohen, he asked J.Lo if she had any problems with Mariah Carey. J.Lo responded by saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. We don't know each other." She even went on to say, "I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her." I'm sorry, girl. I honestly don't think Mariah feels the same at all. Let's get into J.Lo's most high-profile breakup. You already know who I'm about to mention. Yes, Ben Affleck. What's crazy about this one is that she had two high-profile breakups with him. Once in 2004 and then 20 years later in 2024. Now, Lopez and Affleck, or better known collectively as Bennifer by the press, met while filming Geely. We'll get into that one in a bit. And they got engaged in 2002. Their wedding was postponed multiple times due to media attention, and once in 2003, just one day before the ceremony, they made a joint statement that said, "Due to the excessive media attention surrounding our wedding, we have decided to postpone the date." When we found ourselves seriously contemplating hiring 3 separate decoy brides at 3 different locations, we realized that something was awry. We began to feel that the spirit of what should have been the happiest day of our lives would be compromised. We felt that what should have been a joyful and sacred day would be spoiled for us, our families, and our friends. So after that statement, they briefly split up, but then they actually rekindled the relationship, but then eventually called it off just 3 days before the wedding in January of 2004. Jennifer also told People magazine, and I quote, "We didn't try to have a public relationship, we just happened to be together at the birth of the tabloids. It was just a lot of pressure." Ben shared the same sentiments, and although it's reported that it was the pressure that was the main cause of their split, they also had conflicting schedules that made it really difficult to maintain a healthy work-life balance, and it is said that the couple had different views on what to share publicly, which led to like a lot of conflict and tension. Now, at the time, Lopez described the breakup as the biggest heartbreak of her life, and saying that it felt like her whole bleeping world exploded. It even made her question if she belonged in the entertainment business. She said it took her 2 years to get over Ben, meaning when she was married to Mark Anthony, she still had strong feelings for Ben. So that kind of sounds like a rebound to me, right? Now, the couple's relationship captivated audiences and reminded people that even glamorous relationships can and will face challenges. Jen and Ben literally went on to live 2 totally separate lives, but they did always remain on friendly terms and supportive of one another. Ben would go on to marry Jennifer Garner, with whom he has 3 children with, and J.Lo rebounded onto Mark Anthony, with whom she had twins Max and Em with. Ben continued his acting career, starring in films like Hollywoodland, The Town, Argo, and more, and Jennifer released several albums, including Rebirth in 2005, Brave in 2007, and Love in 2011. She even judged on American Idol from 2011 to 2016. Now, let's not forget her acting career though, because listen, I do really love me a good J.Lo rom-com, and she kept busy starring in movies like Maid in Manhattan, Shall We Dance, Monster-in-Law, and in the more recent years, Second Act, Hustlers, and Shotgun Wedding. It's safe to say they both evolved as individuals and continued to grow while they were apart. Now, fast forward to April 2021, Lopez and Affleck rekindled their romance and were spotted together after they both separated from their other partners. In May, they both went on a trip to Montana together, and in July 2022, the couple secretly married in Las Vegas at the Little White Chapel. Sadly, for all Jennifer fans, this was short-lived as their marriage came to an end in August of 2024, when Lopez filed for divorce without a lawyer, citing irreconcilable differences. Now, a bit of deja vu here, because although I'm sure there were several factors that contributed to the breakdown of the relationship, but according to sources close to Lopez, Ben's discomfort with the paparazzi attention was a significant issue. Boy, like, I'm gonna need you to get yourself all the way together. Like, she was J.Lo in 2004. She's still J.Lo in 2024 too. Like, what's insanity again, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, right? Anyway, additionally, Affleck was apparently uncomfortable with Lopez's decision to share private love letters with her music team. I actually don't think many fans were shocked though, because the months leading up to the split, there were so many signs of trouble. The couple was rarely seen together, and when they were, Ben looked so miserable, like just down astronomically bad. And there's even one video that looks to be Ben slamming the car door in Jennifer's face while out running errands. Just not a good look. And to every person watching that video, it signaled the beginning of the end. Now, this second split from Ben, of course, was devastating to Jennifer fans worldwide and shocked many. Actually, no, it didn't really shock too many, to be honest, but it was sad, like, nonetheless. Okay, before I send you guys off with J.Lo's most infamous interview that almost ruined her career, I first want to talk about J.Lo's worst film. Not Jersey Girl, which was bad, not Atlas, also bad, and not U-Turn, which I bet you haven't even heard of that one, so you're welcome. No, let's talk about Geely. And to be fair, it's so bad, it's still not good. She actually should have won a Razzie for it, honestly. But to give you the quickest synopsis possible, Geely, played by Ben Affleck, is ordered to kidnap the psychologically challenged younger brother of a powerful federal prosecutor. Now, when plans go wrong, Geely's boss sends in Ricky, played by Jennifer Lopez, a gorgeous, like, free-spirited female gangster who has her own set of orders to assist with the kidnapping. But Geely begins falling for the decidedly unavailable Ricky, which could be a hazard to his occupation. Geely is widely regarded as one of the worst films of the 2000s. It has like a confusing storyline, underdeveloped characters, cringeworthy dialogue, and the acting is honestly horrible. And not just from Jen, but like from literally every person starring in the film. And there's a lot of big actors in the film. But it's not any interview for that film that almost blew up her career and status in Hollywood. No, it's actually a 1998 interview with Movie Line. In this interview, she criticized several actresses' acting skills, saying that most were not good actresses and implying that acting is a craft that requires dedication and hard work. She went for Madonna, and to quote, she said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yes. Do I think she's a great actress? No." She then went on to make even bigger mistakes by saying negative comments about other actresses, including Cameron Diaz, where she says, "A lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities I just wish she would have done more with. She's beautiful and has a great presence though." And then went in on Gwyneth Paltrow saying, "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." Yes, she said all of that about Gwyneth Paltrow, like who would go on a few months later to win an Oscar. Her comments about Madonna, however, sparked a feud between the two, with Madonna later responding that Lopez couldn't sing. The interview was widely reported and created a media frenzy, damaging J.Lo's reputation and relationships within the industry. Lopez did apologize for her statements and said they were taken out of context and misquoted, but the damage was done, and it even made Lopez consider quitting the industry altogether. I just think it's funny that J.Lo had so many opinions on who is or isn't a great actress, as if she is a great actress herself. None of her critiques aged well, and most can be said about her today if we're being honest. The thing is too is that some of what she said had some truth, but the problem is whose mouth it came out of. She does not have a leg to stand on, and although I'm a fan of J.Lo's rom-coms, I still don't think she then nor now is in any position to throw shade when it comes to acting. Jennifer Lopez has found herself caught up in the latest accusations against Jay-Z after a leaked photo of her and P. Diddy fighting at one of his infamous parties went viral. Jennifer Lopez has been linked to Jay-Z's essay allegations after photos surfaced of her arguing with Diddy on the night of the alleged incident. These old after-party photos of Jay-Z and Diddy have appeared on social media amid horrific allegations. The lady claimed that she was essayed when she was a young woman by Jay-Z and Diddy. In the newly surfaced photo, Jennifer Lopez can also be seen now, and Lopez, who dated Combs from 1999-2001 and were considered to actually be one of the most famous high-profile couples of the Hollywood entertainment industry, hogging the limelight and capturing media attention of the late 90s, is seen in photos arguing with Combs at the after party. Now, to give a brief backstory, J.Lo and Diddy dated from 1999-2001, and their relationship witnessed everything from glamorous appearances, emotional turbulence, and eventually even legal troubles. And when Diddy was in a relationship with Jennifer, he had an infatuation with Kim Porter, who would go on to be the mother of his 3 children, Christian, and twin daughters, Jessie and Delilah. She sadly passed away in 2018, and that's a whole different can of worms to open, so we won't even get into that right now. So going back to this lawsuit, there was a 3rd female celebrity listed in it, and while there was no suggestion that Lopez is the unnamed 3rd celebrity in the lawsuit, the resurfacing of these photos has drawn renewed attention to her past relationship with Combs. Now, after the case was filed, Jay-Z called the allegations idiotic and heinous in nature in a statement released by one of his companies. He also revealed that he had anonymously sued the woman's lawyer, Tony Busby, in California, alleging Busby was trying to blackmail him by threatening to make the allegation public if he didn't agree to a legal settlement. Jay-Z said a letter his lawyer received from Busby appeared to seek a settlement but had the opposite effect. He said, "It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion, so no, I will not give you one red penny." The lawsuit, originally filed in October, claims that the victim, who identified only as Jane Doe, was unknowingly put under the influence by an illegal substance, she said, after consuming like a reddish yellow drink. She then began feeling woozy and lightheaded and was allegedly essayed by both Combs and Jay-Z. It also claims the 3rd celebrity stood by and watched the events unfold. Lopez has yet to publicly comment on the lawsuit or the resurfaced images. The litigation is part of a wave of essay lawsuits against Combs as this hip-hop mogul remains in custody in New York awaiting trial on federal charges. An updated complaint in a civil case against Combs alleges that Jay-Z and Combs essayed the girl at an after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in September of 2000. Now, according to the allegations, Combs aggressively approached the victim with a crazed look in his eyes, grabbed her, and said, "You ready to party?" Incidentally, in the complaint, the woman alleged that Combs and Carter took turns with her. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop it. Colin Rugg, who shared the photos on X, formerly known as Twitter, said, "Here are photos of the party. Jay-Z is in the red shirt. I had previously shared this lawsuit on X, but Jay-Z was not named. He was referred to as Celebrity A. Here are some celebrities who were in attendance at the party: Jay-Z, J.Lo, Ben Stiller." The lawsuit was originally filed in October in the Southern District of New York, and at the time did not actually name Jay-Z as a defendant, though the amended lawsuit says that Jay-Z was identified as Celebrity A on the original complaint. Tony Busby, the Texas lawyer representing the girl who filed Sunday's lawsuit, has filed at least 20 civil lawsuits against Combs, accusing him of misconduct. Busby, in his amended lawsuit, says his legal firm had previously sent Jay-Z a letter seeking to mediate a settlement. The lawsuit says he responded to that letter by filing a lawsuit against Busby and by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment against Busby and other lawyers in his firm, which the lawyer said was an intimidation tactic meant to silence his client. In a post on social media, Busby said the alleged victim he is representing never demanded a penny from Jay-Z, writing that she only sought a confidential mediation. In the recent days, though, the woman who has accused Jay-Z and Sean Combs of essaying her when she was a young woman shared new details about her recollection of the night of the alleged incident. Now, in an interview with NBC News, the woman, now a 38-year-old mother of two who lives in Alabama, said she stayed quiet for over 24 years because she felt no one would have believed her. She said, even if somebody found out, who was gonna believe me? I mean, it was the words of two celebrities against mine. Among the new details, the Alabama woman claimed that during the alleged incident, Jay-Z placed his hand over her mouth and told her to stop when she resisted. In a statement, Jay-Z denied the new and old allegations, continuing to say that the complaint was filed in pursuit of money and fame. He added, this incident didn't happen, and yet he filed it in court and doubled down in the press. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. This was over before it began. This 1-800 lawyer doesn't realize it yet, but soon. Combs has denied all allegations against him. His legal team said that now a plaintiff of Busby's has been exposed for falsely claiming to be a victim. This is the beginning of the end of the shameful money grab. Combs' attorney said that in a shared statement. And the alleged victim's decision to refile her lawsuit to include Jay-Z was a major development, as he is the only other high-profile defendant named in the case alongside Combs. It's hard to say whether or not Jennifer Lopez, now being dragged into all of this, will or will not talk about it privately or publicly. Many believe she should provide some sort of explanation or clarity around what exactly went on in the photos. Was she arguing, or was it a moment captured by a bad angle that made it look more sinister than not? I bet you didn't know this, and as if all the Diddy drama he's currently been facing wasn't enough, here's a story you've likely never heard that involves Jenny from the good old block. So, Jennifer Lopez and Sean Diddy Combs dated way back in 1999 after he was a producer on her hit debut album, On the Six. The pair split in 2001, and Lopez has remained tight-lipped about the pair's relationship, but in December of 1999, Sean Diddy Combs, Jennifer Lopez, his bodyguard Anthony Wolf Jones, and a 21-year-old rapper Jamal Shine Barrow, a Combs protege, were involved in a disagreement at Club New York in Manhattan that ended with blasting and left 3 people injured. Combs, Lopez, and Jones left the club and led police on a wild chase through New York City that ended with police finding a stolen firearm inside the car. Now, Netania Rubin, one of 3 people injured during the altercation, maintains Combs was the one who hit her that night and has renewed her accusation in recent days. Now, Combs and Lopez were arrested, detained, and initially charged for their involvement, but the charges were quickly dropped against Lopez. Combs, Jones, and Barrow faced charges related to firearm possession, and prosecutors alleged Combs and Jones attempted to bribe the driver of the car that left the nightclub to tell police the firearm was his in exchange for $50,000. I personally don't see a scenario where $50K is worth like any amount of jail time, but go off. After a weeks-long trial, Combs and Jones were acquitted, but a New York jury found Barrow guilty of 5 charges, including criminal possession of a firearm, aggravated harm, and reckless endangerment, though Barrow was acquitted of attempted homicide. Now, J.Lo actually didn't have much to say then nor now about the incident, but in a July 2000 interview, Lopez described the incident as a complete nightmare and saying that she was scared to death in the car. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. No one did. Since all of the recent Diddy drama has been happening, there has been a call to actually reopen the case, which would require a new or confirmed statement from Lopez. But will she give it? Likely not. Her lips are as sealed shut now as they were in 2000, just like a kiss from a rose. Now, you might be wondering, what does this have to do with J.Lo? How does this make her sketchy or like quote unquote evil? Well, it is alleged that the firearm that injured 3, with one actually hitting one woman in the face, was not only brought by J.Lo, but she allegedly handed it to Diddy the second he started getting into the altercation. So just let that one sink in. I want to actually get into some more juicy J.Lo drama. You remember her 2020 Super Bowl halftime show performance where she took the stage with Shakira, right? Well, it wasn't all footballs and butterflies, okay? Let it be known, there was no reported incident of J.Lo directly dissing Shakira. However, there were rumors of tension between them before and actually after their performance. So let's get into it. Some pre-performance rumors say that reports suggest Lopez and Shakira disagreed over set times and performance length, with Lopez allegedly being the difficult to please one in this instance. Now, rumors also indicated they both had very different artistic visions, but in the end, you guessed it, J.Lo won that battle and basically got everything she wanted, like a real true diva at any cost, it seems though, right? So now one rumor that hit a nerve for a lot of Shakira fans is that when Shakira was doing her like belly dancing, a lot of people saw J.Lo's reaction and basically said she looked disinterested, dismissive, and like essentially disapproving of Shakira's moves. I saw it. Shakira looked fire, like it's giving jealousy by J.Lo. Fans also speculated about tension between Lopez and Shakira based on their social media interactions. Shakira actually posted a pic on Instagram with both her and J.Lo in the shot, while J.Lo actually only posted one with just herself to promote the Super Bowl performance. Now, I'm not gonna lie, like I would definitely feel away if I was Shakira. And again, there's no direct evidence that support these claims that Lopez dissed Shakira, and both artists actually have maintained that they denied these rumors and have even praised each other's performances. So like whether there was actually any malice behind J.Lo's actions, I guess we'll never truly know. But what do you guys think though? Like big red flags or like a little baby pink one? I want to talk about J.Lo's lack of accountability, and this may not seem evil or like a red flag, but ask yourself this again once I'm actually done. So J.Lo has been accused of many things. Like, okay, let's forget that she's a diva in her own right, and maybe she has even like earned that title. But some things she's been accused of can't just be overlooked so easy or chalked up to like, oh, she's just a Hollywood diva. You know, firstly, she's been accused of plagiarism. Now, not only with her music, but like with her music videos, and we're not just talking lyrics, but allegedly also taking vocals. So J.Lo has faced accusations of using Ashanti's, our R&B queen of the early 2000s, vocals without proper credit on several songs, like including I'm Real and Ain't It Funny. Ashanti had recorded demo versions of these songs, and parts of her vocals were allegedly used in the final tracks. That's wild. And like, despite all the claims being pretty strong and solid, J.Lo has quite honestly taken no accountability at all. Like, she actually hasn't even addressed the claims once. And she's also had quite a few lawsuits. So she's been sued for copyright infringement, breach of contract, and unfair business practices, all of which she hasn't addressed or taken any real accountability for either. Like, I love me a problematic queen, but this is a lot. Another horrible moment for J.Lo was in 2017 when she faced backlash after posting a message on Instagram expressing her support for unity and peace following protests in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, her post included the hashtag All Lives Matter, which some interpreted as dismissive of the Matter movement, and critics argued that Lopez understood BLM's movement's purpose, and some felt that All Lives Matter downplayed systemic racism. Others criticized Lopez for her apparent ignorance of social injustice issues. So all in all, the consensus was that her post was insensitive and tone deaf. She did delete the post like literally 10 minutes later. Like, that's how quick and easy it is to get canceled in Hollywood, folks, so be careful. But will you be surprised if I tell you she not only did not take accountability, but she didn't publicly apologize either, explain any of it, or address it at all? Shocker. Anyways, what do you guys think though? Do you think J.Lo is like a menace to society, or is she just like misunderstood?
Could you imagine your own wife possibly being a part of an alleged illicit crime ring? Ben Affleck apparently can, because supposedly he has been given tapes that have Jennifer Lopez herself in them when the police raided Sean Combs' home earlier this year. If you are new to this channel and have not been keeping up with the celebrity gossip, y'all better strap in, because it gets messy. A quick rundown of why these tapes are so important and why Lopez may be facing some serious charges. As of this year, Sean Combs is held at the Metropolitan Detention Center for quite the list of crimes. These include trafficking, racketeering, and illicit intimate relations that all supposedly happened during his Diddy parties, to which these portions of the parties were called freak-offs. The Diddy parties were an iconic event to be a part of, which were hosted over a span of literal decades, from the 90s all the way to 2020. They were originally labeled as white parties, where people would follow a strict dress code of wearing all white, to which these ended around 2006. However, much more apparently went down at these parties, to which a photographer who worked with Diddy for 20 years named Fonseca stated she hadn't seen anything out of the ordinary when it came to the outside section of the party. But only specific people were allowed inside of the house. Who these people were, however, are still unknown, and she definitely wasn't one of them. She recalls a moment during one of his parties where Sean Combs was supposedly with a girl she had never seen before, and so, as she was hired to do, decided to take a photo of the two of them together. Sean Combs noticed this, however, and told his bodyguard to get her camera. Fonseca was surprised by this because in the entirety of those 2 decades she worked for him, never once did he ask for her camera. When she finally got it back, she noted how no photos were deleted, which was probably a smart move considering how many flags that would have raised. When Sean Combs' house was raided, there were a few notable things they discovered, such as narcotics, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and alleged tapes hidden away. These supposed tapes apparently have information about what actually went down during these freak-offs, and that's where Jennifer Lopez comes in. Apparently the tapes that Ben Affleck was given after the raid of Diddy's home contain her being a part of the incident that happened in a nightclub back in 1999. Apparently, musician Moses Shine Barrow took the fall for Diddy during an intense scene that was going down, but J.Lo had lied, saying that Barrow was the one that started the incident in the first place, and that inevitably ruined his career by sending him to prison. Affleck even makes the comment of, they go raid Puffy's house, and they get all these videos of J.Lo doing this and J.Lo doing that. You're just gonna keep us in the dark like that, Ben? Come on, details, details! These tapes are apparently the reason for the strain on their relationship, and mayhaps might just be the reason for their divorce. A former CEO of Death Row Records states this: I'm quite sure they, FBI, probably called. It's a white man who got respect in the white world. I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife. Lopez and Diddy's relationship was a quick one, lasting only for about 2 years from 1999 to 2001, which was eerily around the time all these allegations had taken place. Diddy even tried to get back with her at one point too. I mean, yeah, it's frickin' Jennifer Lopez in the 90s, I would too. It's been reported that since then, Affleck has moved out of their $60 million home in Beverly Hills, and supposedly they're trying to keep it on the down low about them selling it too. The former CEO claims he is not surprised that Ben Affleck wants out ASAP after this. It's been no shock that Jennifer has been really stirring the pot when it came to her own publicity over the past year. From spitting gum in an assistant's hand to getting an employee at a hotel fired for a simple autograph. From what we know about Ben, his slate has been cleaner than hers. At least that's what the former CEO says. He ain't tripping off paparazzi. He's living his life. He got his own team. She done brought all that extra stuff out, and now that man, he won out. I don't blame him. He's got his own image to look out for too in this industry. And he has. And he's been working towards recovery with his own demons. But Lopez apparently didn't think that one through towards the end of last year. Supposedly, she was extremely insensitive to his problems when she made a launch for her own adult drink brand J.Lo, when she had just recently walked down the aisle with Affleck. Lopez apparently doesn't even drink herself to help preserve her skin, which was confirmed to InStyle. Lopez was quick to backpedal though and say she only drinks for special occasions, since there are photos of her with a cocktail in her hand. Quoted herself, "I know that a lot of people have been talking about, oh, she doesn't even drink, what's she doing with a cocktail out? And to tell you the truth, that was true for a long time. I didn't drink. A few years back, as you will see from several photos of me over the past 10, maybe 15 years, I have been having the occasional cocktail. And yet still hasn't addressed the tone-deaf launch when it came to her now ex-husband, just made it about her. She's supposedly trying to regain her image after this mess unfolded, especially after one of her recent tours. This Is Me Now completely tanked in ticket sales. A source told the Daily Mail she is focused on her own work and wants 2025 to be the year she gets back to being herself. She isn't actively looking to date right now and is still processing losing Ben again. She, like most people, would love to have love in her life again. If something presents itself, then obviously life and love find a way. But she isn't looking to get into any new relationships. I'm curious to see what 2025 brings for our diva, and maybe, hopefully, we'll get a new change from her for the better. Aside from the Diddy case, something else has been supposedly exposed about our diva this year. I've talked about it before in another video on Inform Overload, but for those of you watching for the first time, there's a rumor going around that Jenny from the block has never stepped foot onto a block in her life. Well, an H&R block maybe. Jennifer is being slammed for supposedly lying about her own empire that she built. Lopez really milked, and still does, her past history about growing up in the Bronx, and how times were extremely tough for her as a child. Which, before, rags to riches stories were a huge cash grab, because everyone wanted that opportunity to happen in their life. Now, I'm still waiting for mine. A few parts of her upcoming documentary, The Greatest Love Story Ever Told, which delves into the life of her and Ben throughout these 20 years. Yikes. After with what we know now, shines a little light in her past. And the specific video that has been speculating around the internet is the one where she is in front of a mirror playing with her hair. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to F and be wild and no limits. All dreams. Yeah, this did not end well on social media and sparked a huge backlash on her image. A TikToker by the name of Sillaminian calls her out. "We weren't running up and down the block like that, even as a kid. What block were you running up and down on? Do you have any footage of this? Pictures of you being in the Bronx? Being a normal child?" Of course, things might have changed in the last few decades, with people choosing to stay inside more, technology advancements, rise in crime. Yeah, I wouldn't be running up and down a block either anymore. However, another TikToker, Pictures by Angela, whose video has now since been removed, I believe, has exposed Jenny from the block to have attended a private high school, specifically the Preston High. I saw your high school photo. You did not have hair like that. We also both attended an all-girls Catholic high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block, she states. To remind you those who have returned for more Jenny videos, this school's tuition per year, as of today, is $12,395, and this doesn't include the general fee, senior luncheon, graduation fee. A user by the name of Carenza even commented, "I can't explain it, but every time J.Lo pops up and she's talking about the Bronx, she gives me Michael Scott vibes, and now I can't unsee it." That's not a good character to be compared with either. Let's see if she really chooses to keep her word in the following year. I'm all about people changing for the better, but fool me 5, 10, 16 times, shame on me. Your image is everything in the A-list world. And man, has it become distorted for you, Lopez. Try and prove us wrong. I'll definitely be waiting.
One of J.Lo's past assistants has come forward and addressed J.Lo's involvement in Diddy's crime ring. And let me tell you, it's not what you think at all. Thea D'Souza, who worked with J.Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that said, "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you were close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she's a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." Now, she emphasized that J.Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. So, Thea claims that J.Lo is innocent in all of this, which is a great thing, and it's honestly good to see someone having J.Lo's back at a time like this. They've been digging up photos of J.Lo at parties and have been speculating a lot. Now, besides proof that J.Lo had been to some of his white parties, as she was his girlfriend, there's been zero proof that she had anything to do with the crimes Diddy committed, nor that she even knew about them. While her ex-assistant has stood up for her, J.Lo, for her part though, has stayed silent. And she probably will be for the time being, as she doesn't really address rumors or drama. It's obviously a sensitive subject and is something that the star doesn't want to discuss. So if you meet J.Lo, I'd suggest not asking her about Diddy. Besides, if she has something to say, she will say it eventually. It's a very sticky situation that she's in, and nobody is entitled to her opinion on the whole situation. Now, since breaking up with Diddy, J.Lo has claimed that he was unfaithful during their relationship. Now, maybe this is why she won't talk about him. She could still be hurt by all of this. Now, throughout their relationship and after their breakup, J.Lo was aware of rumors that Diddy was cheating on her. When the pair first met, Diddy essentially love-bombed her. He gave her a ton of attention and told her that he loved her almost immediately. J.Lo said this made her uncomfortable at first, but then she fell for him. As their relationship wore on though, the feelings of doubt crept back in. "It was the first time I was with someone who wasn't faithful," she told Vibe magazine after the breakup. "I was in this relationship with Puff where I was totally crying, crazy, and going nuts. It really took my whole life in a tailspin." Now, she grew increasingly concerned about his fidelity, saying, "I never caught him, but I just knew," she said of his cheating. He said he was going to the club for a couple of hours and then he'd never come back that night. Now, Diddy himself has admitted that he was often unfaithful in relationships. In a 2015 appearance on The Breakfast Club, he said his partners would often be frustrated with his behavior. Now, J.Lo later admitted they broke up and got back together far more than the public knew, which honestly isn't healthy at all. But in 2001, the couple ended things for good. It was scary, and we broke up many times before that and got back together and broke up again, and nobody knew about it. Now, it seems like J.Lo is more stressed out about everything regarding this relationship than participating in Diddy's extracurricular activities. Yes, she attended some of his parties, but that was only when they were dating, and she didn't know what was happening behind the scenes. I mean, when J.Lo was asked about Diddy in 2022 when she was on the Wendy Williams show, things got, well, awkward. Wendy asked if she and Diddy would ever get back together, and J.Lo laughed and shook her head as the camera panned to her mother sitting in the audience. Now, J.Lo's mother looked furious as she shouted no while waving her hand back and forth. Now, reposting the clip on Twitter, one fan wrote, "Some of y'all didn't catch J.Lo's mom's reaction when Wendy Williams said this." Yeah, I feel like this says a lot about their relationship. Clearly there was something going on and she didn't want to be associated with him anymore. And the fact that J.Lo's mom doesn't like Diddy, that speaks volumes. Recently, some shocking information was revealed from someone who attended Diddy's exclusive parties. On November 1st, former model Rachel Kennedy appeared on Daily Mail's The Trial of Diddy podcast to share her experience. Now, during her appearance, Rachel revealed that when she met Diddy in the year 2000, Diddy allegedly played J.Lo's music videos on a continuous loop in his hotel room while he was reportedly on the phone with the singer. It was kind of an odd thing to find out that we were watching J.Lo's video, she said, describing it as it's a little bit creepy and very disrespectful. Yeah, I'd have to agree with Rachel on that. Rachel, along with 2 friends, was invited to Diddy's hotel room for a party after meeting him at 7th Heaven, a topless club in Japan. She shared that it quickly became clear that this was not the type of party they had expected. Rachel recounted that she and her friends initially found Diddy friendly and decided to stay, even after noticing some wild behavior around them. We went in, we didn't think anything strange, he was friendly enough, so we decided, okay, we'll just hang out with him, she said. Now things took a turn though, and it's now believed that this was actually one of Diddy's freak-offs. Rachel went on to say when she and her friends were with Diddy, suddenly one of his bodyguards barged into the room and he looked so violent and angry. He then ejected the women from the room, which came off as a shock to them. She said, "We just couldn't believe what was happening. First of all, how does he have that much access to Puff Daddy's room? That's the first thing I thought. How does he just come in like that?" Looking back at the strange experience, she alleged that the Bad Boy Records founder teaches them the behavior as he's their boss. She added, "He is the puppet master of all of this, and this is why people think it's okay, because he's teaching them that this kind of behavior is acceptable. He's like a cult leader and these people are his disciples," she said. Now this makes sense, as it's been released that Diddy had plenty of rules his employees had to follow when it came to finding him women. A former party planner who worked with Diddy during 2004 and 2005, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that women attending these parties were subjected to weight checks. "We would do a weigh-in if necessary. The girls had to be young and hot, so I always had a scale nearby in case I needed to make sure. The number was 140 pounds, but if a girl was really tall, there was a little bit of discretion involved," said the planner, adding that other requirements included no flab, no cellulite, no overly pierced or tattooed, and no short hair. Now the dress code reportedly demanded women wear short dresses with high stilettos being a non-negotiable. No pants, no jeans, no flat shoes. Every girl had to wear a party dress, preferably very short, just enough to cover her butt cheeks but no longer than mid-thigh, cleavage showing. And every single one of them had to be wearing stilettos. That one, there was no exception, high stilettos. The New York Post quoted the planner as saying. Now it seems like we won't find out more from J.Lo regarding this whole situation unless she's called on to testify in court. But with everything that's been released about Diddy, J.Lo is the least of our problems. From lip syncing to lying about how she grew up, here's all the times Jennifer Lopez got caught lying to everyone on TV. Now J.Lo is a performer, not really a singer. I mean, J.Lo claims she performs and sings live, but that isn't always the case. In November of 2021, she was slammed by music fans for allegedly lip syncing during her American Music Awards performance as she took the stage to carry out her brand new song, On My Way, Marry Me. An angry viewer ranted, "Come on with the overproduced singing, this commercial sounds exactly like her live vocals just did." A commenter pointed out, "Now why are you lip syncing? You have a great voice, just sing the song." Now this isn't the first time this has happened though, as in 2014 she was caught lip syncing her performance of I Love Ya Papi on American Idol. And again, fans were not happy about this. But should we really even be shocked? I mean, J.Lo doesn't even sing her own songs in the studio versions. Now for example, her song Play is sung by AM to PM singer Christina Milian. Christina wrote the song and she sings Play's entire chorus. Ashanti has also lent her voice to J.Lo, playing it off as her own. In fact, you can hear her singing on Ain't It Fun and I'm Real. Ashanti spoke about this in 2014 and said, "I wrote Ain't It Funny. I demoed the record for her before I was signed and they kept my hook and some of the background and ad-libs and stuff like that. It was bittersweet because I was really excited that it was J.Lo, but I was so mad at not being able to have the record for herself," she said. Shawnna Harrell is also alleged to be responsible for some of the vocals in If You Had My Love, and Makeba Riddick apparently is the voice behind All I Have. Now the chorus from her song Jenny from the Block was rumored to have been sung by Natasha Ramos, who demoed the song. Now in fact, Natasha addressed the claims in 2019, tweeting, "J.Lo did indeed go in the studio and lay down some background vocals over mine. So I wouldn't say she's so much lip syncing, however the backgrounds are predominantly me and some ad-libs and laughs are as well." When fans found this out, they called out J.Lo for lying and branded the music industry trash and insisting that Jennifer should not be famous for work she never did. But Natasha then stood up for the star. She wrote, "Well, that's a little harsh. J.Lo is one of the hardest working women in business. In my opinion, she certainly deserves all her success. I just deserved more from that project too. That's on the label though, not Jennifer. It's all kind of history at this point, lol." But J.Lo has also been accused of straight up stealing songs from other artists. Now, one of the stars who accused her of doing this was Usher in 2015. He claimed that she stole a song that he cast aside while recording his hugely successful album called Confessions. Usher claimed that J.Lo's single Get Right is actually a re-recorded version of Ride, a song he co-wrote the year before, which was only available online. He said, "I hate it, but I better get some of the publishing rights or else. I didn't put it on my album because I couldn't get it right, but I didn't expect J.Lo to just take it." Now, besides all of that, it's been revealed that J.Lo is a cheater. Now, Jennifer and Ben Affleck had an on-again, off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s, with fans even nicknaming the couple Benifer. Now, they just got divorced this year. It was a huge thing, but the timeline of their relationship in general is a huge red flag and included alleged cheating. So in July of 2002, Jennifer filed for divorce from her second husband, Chris Judd, citing irreconcilable differences. But this news broke just months after J.Lo wrapped the movie Guilty alongside her then boyfriend Ben. Now, even though she repeatedly denied cheating rumors, Ben took out an ad in The Hollywood Reporter gushing about J.Lo before her divorce wasn't yet finalized. In fact, even Chris Judd's father Larry spoke out against the couple and accused J.Lo of being unfaithful to his son. He insinuated that the affair started during the filming of Guilty, saying, "I thought Mr. Affleck would honor a married woman and not just go right into the trailer." He added that she'd be happier if she just tell the truth, and no one in her little circle is going to say one negative thing about her. Now, this is quite ironic because just years before, J.Lo accused Diddy of cheating on her and how heartbroken it left her. Now, I have to bring up J.Lo's infamous movie line interview in 1998. Now, this very well could have ruined J.Lo's career, as at the time she was 27 and fresh off the success of her film Selena. Now, she basically decided to trash all other celebrities that were big at the time and tried to trivialize their career and their contributions to the industry. In fact, when asked about Madonna, J.Lo actually said, "Do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, this was so ironic because J.Lo would go on to do both music and acting for the rest of her career, and critics also trashed her acting on the big screen. Also, at the time, Madonna had been a star for a lot longer than J.Lo, so there was really no comparison there. And when Gwyneth Paltrow was brought up, Jennifer almost seemed to laugh and made it clear that she didn't take her fellow actress's career seriously. "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work," she said. Now, yikes, this did not go over well, and hey, I can't blame the celebrities she dissed for being upset. Now, this year, Jennifer recently released her documentary on Amazon Prime called This Is Me Now, A Love Story, which gave behind-the-scenes looks into her new album, This Is Me Now, and the accompanying movie, The Greatest Love Story Never Told. Now, some fans who watched it though took to social media to call Jen out for her lies. In one scene, Jennifer poses in the mirror of her personal gym as she shakes out her hair and reminisces about her childhood in the Bronx. "I feel like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block, crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams," she said. However, a TikTok user, Photos by Angela, slammed the star in a series of videos as she claimed to have gone to the same Catholic high school as Jennifer and accused her of lying about her experience living in the Bronx. She said, "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block." In fact, the Bronx is a place that J.Lo actually avoids. Now, how do we know this? Well, due to a commercial she filmed. The commercial is from 2011, and the caption to it on YouTube says, "This commercial is titled My World and is voiced over by Lopez, who is seen driving a Fiat 500 Cabrio as she travels through the streets of Manhattan to the Bronx where she grew up." The new ad explores her personal take on how life in the New York City borough continues to inspire her to be tougher, to stay sharper, and think faster. But this ad backfired when it was reported that she never actually went to the Bronx to film the ad, and that a body double stand-in was used instead. And I mean, if you watch the ad knowing this information, it's pretty obvious. I mean, why not just ditch J.Lo and use a different celebrity who would actually show up on set? Now, it's just crazy that they let her get away with this.
New photos from the night of one of Diddy's major lawsuits shine a whole new light on his relationship with then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. We'll get into all this and more in leaked Diddy party photo of Jennifer Lopez will change everything. Diddy, as you likely know by now, has been accused of some pretty heinous things by multiple people, including some past partners. Many lawsuits have been filed against the disgraced rapper. The lawsuit alleged that Diddy and an unnamed additional male celebrity harmed her inappropriately, while another, also unnamed, female celebrity watched. The plaintiff's story in the lawsuit was, she attempted to sneak into Radio City Music Hall in 2000 for MTV's VMAs, but when she was unsuccessful, she ran into Diddy's driver. The driver told her to come back after the show, and when she did, he drove her to a large white house with a gated U-shaped driveway. The plaintiff further claims that upon entering the house, she was presented with a non-disclosure agreement and asked to sign. Once inside, she claims there was widespread use of substances, and when handed a beverage, they were in there too. In a bid to find somewhere safe to rest, the plaintiff claims that she entered an empty bedroom, and it wasn't long after she entered that the trio of celebrities allegedly followed. It was then that the multiple transgression happened, ultimately halting when the plaintiff struck Diddy in the neck. She was able to eventually escape the house and return home, but of course, the night left its mark. As reported by the Daily Mail, the lawsuit claims that the plaintiff fell into a deep depression which continues to affect every facet of her life. Diddy continues to assert his innocence. Back in October of this year, the Daily Mail obtained exclusive images of allegedly the very same after-party that this incident happened at, and the photos feature what appears to be a very angry J.Lo yelling at then-boyfriend and presently accused Sean Diddy Combs. The couple appears to be towards the wall of the room that is clearly still buzzing with party energy. Diddy appears to be dressed in what he wore to Radio City Music Hall that evening, a white shirt, baseball cap, and the new addition being what appears to be a bottle in his hand. In J.Lo's case, she had changed from her event outfit of the all-white ensemble with the bedazzled bandana to a colorful diamond and striped mini dress. As the party guests dance around the couple, the vibes could not be more different. Even directly beside J.Lo is who the Daily Mail has pointed out as her sister, Linda Lopez. She has a big smile on her face in some photos. It looks like she's continuing to dance the night away. In other photos, it's unclear if they became before or after the initial argument photo. J.Lo appears to be looking at Diddy in disdain or disappointment as he pours guests glasses from the bottle in his hand. In what the Daily Mail deems the next photo in the sequence, J.Lo is seen pushing away from the alleged confrontation and walking out of frame. As these are photos and not videos, there is no way of knowing exactly what was being said while the pictures were being taken unless one of the two stars steps forward. Though with the timing of the photos being obtained so close to the lawsuit being filed, it's made people look into the images a bit closer and wonder what the apparent argument could have been about. As of right now, J.Lo is not named in the lawsuit filed by the girl harmed at the allegedly same party. The lawsuit simply states Sean Diddy Combs and two unnamed celebrities were present. If it was this party, the house would be crawling with famous faces. This after-party event was co-hosted by Eminem and Dr. Dre. Some big-name guests that were included in the series of images the Daily Mail obtained from this night include music artist Jay-Z, magician David Blaine, model Carmen Cass, and rapper Ice-T, and more. To be clear, none of these people were named in the lawsuit either. They were simply present at the after-party. There have been instances in the past when Diddy has hosted star-studded bashes that turn into his bad parties after all the talent has left. The US Sun reported that Diddy's 2005 VMAs after-party went something like that. The event started as a party and was attended by big names like Eva Longoria and Paris Hilton, but the later half of the evening allegedly dissolved into one of Diddy's infamous freak-offs after the majority of the talent had left. The remaining party guests allegedly were moved from the nightclub to Diddy's mansion in the early early morning, and this is where his inappropriate party happened. Footage from the later half of the party allegedly shows Diddy wearing the same outfit he had been wearing in the VMA after-party pics. It's unclear if the incident at the 2000 MTV VMA's after-party was a situation like that, or an isolated incident that happened during the party. Diddy is known for having an unsavory and violent past that is completely unrelated to the many lawsuits filed against him lately. Just under a year before the year 2000 after-party, in December of 1999, Diddy and J.Lo were arrested after an altercation in a Manhattan club. Reported at the time was that in the club, Diddy, J.Lo, Diddy's bodyguard, and another music artist named Shine got in a disagreement that resulted in a fight. Diddy and J.Lo were not harmed inside the bar and fled the scene taking a car. Forbes reported that the couple were being chased by police, and the New York Post reported that the car ran a red light before being pulled over by the police. It was during this stop that things started to go south for the famous couple. Inside the car, police found a stolen weapon, the discovery prompting the stars being taken into custody. Present at the station where the couple was taken was retired NYPD detective Derek Parker. After the event, he spoke to the New York Post, giving them an exclusive look into what it was like in the room that night. He said there were all these high-profile lawyers barricaded in the station house waiting to talk to the desk officer, and further went on to recall that J.Lo was first handcuffed to a pole inside the station and then later held for about 14 hours in detention. Of course, like I'm assuming anyone who just experienced a club uproar and arrest like she did, the retired detective said that J.Lo appeared distressed. J.Lo ended up getting released and cleared of all charges first after that 14 hours. She later shared in an interview that she was scared to death in the car at the time. Though J.Lo was cleared of any charges, Diddy wasn't, so a trial had to take place that lasted a few weeks. In addition to the incident at the club, prosecutors also alleged that Diddy and his bodyguard tried to bribe the driver of the getaway car $50,000 in exchange for him telling the police the weapon was his. One of the victims of the incident did testify as a witness at the trial. During her testimony, she claimed that she saw Diddy pulling out the weapon with his right hand, and then very soon after feeling immense pain in her face that later turned out to be caused by the There is a tie-in to this situation and the current Diddy situation. One of the recent lawsuits filed against Diddy came from producer Rodney Little Rod Jones Jr. He filed a civil lawsuit for non-consensual relations and harassment, and in a shocking turn of events, it also seems to possibly reference this 1999 incident as well. The suit claimed that on the day Homeland Security raided Diddy's home, he displayed his and bragged about getting away with using these weapons against people. It went further, saying that Diddy also confirmed to those present that he was responsible for the New York incident with the other rapper Shine. Not only that, but that J.Lo was the one who carried the firearm into the club for him and passed him the gun after he got into an altercation with another individual. Of course, you might notice that this would make J.Lo being in possession of the item and handing it to Diddy improbable if the original victim insisted she saw him pull it out. But it's not impossible, could have happened before the altercation began. In the end, Diddy was acquitted along with his bodyguard. Though it is over 2 decades after the incident, the victim, Natanya Rubin, is still fighting for justice. She joined Elizabeth Vargas Reports for an interview earlier in the year in which she shared that she still has 9 fragments of the projectile in her face. A follow-up interview revealed that Rubin was nervous even years later about sharing her story. She also said in the interview that she wouldn't mind if the case was reopened, even going so far as to say that as long as it didn't cause any health complications, she would be willing to have a doctor remove a part of the 9mm projectile in her face to be used as evidence in court. Another interesting moment in the J.Lo Diddy relationship history is a rumor from the early 2000s that was addressed in a recent interview on Jimmy Kimmel Live. The rumor was that while Diddy was dating J.Lo in the late 90s, early 2000s, Will Smith and his wife had propositioned the Jenny from the Block singer with an invitation to join them in bed. Allegedly, Diddy wasn't too happy with that and threatened to attack Smith. Never one to shy away from anything, Kimmel straight up asked Diddy if this was true. Insert clip here. At first, the music artist made absolutely no movements, just kept his face in a very serious mask. Eventually, he did respond with, "You really heard that?" and laughed the whole thing off, claiming he didn't know what Kimmel was talking about. The talk show host played into the bit, making a remark about how one can't believe everything they hear on the internet.